Hi guys, so today we are going to review the Botticelli Tarot, and it is published by Los Scarabeo, and I guess Atanas Alexandrov Atasanov. I'm guessing he's the artist that decided where to place the suit pictures, the pips pictures. So yeah, I'm guessing, and then he probably decided where to gild. But anyway, so that's that. Typical box. It's very beautiful though because the gilding is all the way around the box. And this is the typical Los Scarabeo book where there's 12 pages in English and then the rest are in the 4 other languages they offer. And this is the cards. This is the cover card, and it is the birth of Venus, and that's Venus. This is the back. Isn't the backing so nice? Very nice. And then this is the ad card where they try to sell something, and they are trying to sell the Book of Shadows. And this is the deck. Okay, so Botticelli, this deck is all about Botticelli's paintings. They're pretty much like cropped images of like part of his work, you know, they're cropped images of like a bigger painting. And it's gilded because when he was young, I'm guessing this is why it's gilded, but when he was young, he was an apprentice of a goldsmith. So I think it would be very appropriate or a good reason to add gilding to his deck because that is part of his life. So that's the Fool. And so the Fool the Fool is very interesting because he's not portrayed the same way like the typical or traditional Fool. Usually the Fool looks happy or excited or very optimistic, but here he looks very uncomfortable and not happy at all. And maybe that helps us as like a reader or as someone who appreciates tarot or whatever to look at the Fool in a different light. Maybe this is how I see it. Like maybe the Fool is very, he's very new, but he's so new that he's like unprepared. And because he's unprepared, he's caught off guard. And that's what I see in this image. A person that's caught off guard and unprepared. But they did manage to put the dog there, so that's good, right? I'm trying to center this. Okay. So there's that. This is the Magician. It looks like a magician card to me with the robe and the table there. And this is Mother Mary. And a lot of Botticelli's works revolve around like Christian images and Greek or Roman images as well. And she's usually referred to Madonna in his paintings. The Madonna. The Empress. And this one I know is Fortitude in the paintings. The Emperor. The Hierophant, which is a pope, an actual pope. The Lovers. So the Lovers is a cropped image from a bigger piece called The Birth of Venus. And these two are the winds. That's Aura, the girl over there, and the boy with the blue stuff is Zephyr, I believe. And they make up the Lovers, by the way. The Chariot. Justice. I know this is Pallas. Pallas? I believe her name. Yeah, Pallas. And she is supposed to be holding the hair of a centaur. He's but they put the scale there instead. And I'm guessing that's what the Atanas Alexandrov Atasanov did. I guess he's the one who decided what to put in replace of whatever original picture image there was in the painting. So here he placed the scale instead of the head of the centaur. But I love it. It's so cool. Like I just love that she has an axe. Very nice. Okay, the hermit. I see the hermit here. Old man with a book alone. That's the hermit. The wheel. I like this. Look at, it's so pretty, right? Like, that's what I love about the work of, or this deck. Because Botticelli's work is like very vibrant, and then with the gold it's even more vibrant, you know, like this, it just draws attention and looks very expensive in my opinion. The strength card right here. The hanged man. And this picture is the lamentation over the dead Christ, I believe, yeah. And that's Mother Mary and Jesus. Temperance. And this is the devil card, but I think this is Pan. I'm pretty sure this is Pan from Greek mythology. Is it Greek or Roman mythology, Pan? I think Pan is Greek, yeah. The tower. Love the tower. Let me see if I can focus. Yep, there you go. And this is the stars, or the graces. And this one, again, is a section of a bigger painting called La Primavera. And La Primavera is probably Botticelli's most famous work. Yeah. The moon. The sun. Again, the Madonna. Judgment. Judgment, again, looks very typical. Like, or, yeah. Because all judgment cards that I've seen look like this, with angels and people, like, rising from the tomb, from their tomb. So, the world, or Venus. And this is the birth of Venus. So, like, the winds, or the lovers in this deck, are blowing her onto shore. And when she lands on the shore and she steps foot on land, it brings about spring, and that's kind of the story behind that painting. So she comes to Cyprus and she steps on the land, and flowers start growing, and that's spring. And behind that is, like, I guess it's an allegory or a metaphor for fertility, or like pregnancy, like giving birth, when someone is, you know, having a child or pregnant. And that's what they did. They commissioned him for every time someone was about to get pregnant, they would commission him, and he would paint, yeah, like a painting representing fertility. So there's that. Ace. And these are the chalices. Two chalice. Two cups. I love this one, the cups. And then 3 of cups. And again, this is Venus, I think, but she's a brunette here, which is really interesting. Because that's her pose. Except her hand is on the other direction. 4 of cups. 5 of cups. I love the 6 of cups because usually in the typical Rider-Waite imagery, there is, like, you see someone who's resistant towards something, right? But this one, the baby just looks unaware for maybe the reason of being, you know, innocent. He's a child. Maybe that's why. But I like that, kind of that idea better because it's softer. Like, yeah, I love this card. 7 of cups. Okay, again, this is part of La Primavera. And the story behind this is, I believe that's Zephyr. And this is Chloris, which is she a nymph? I believe she's like a nymph. But the angel rapes her, and she turns into a goddess named Flora. And Flora is the goddess of spring. So that's the story behind this, which is really interesting. And again, it's part of that idea of fertility. And yeah. Sorry, I got sidetracked. But yeah, that whole that whole painting La Primavera has a lot to do with, like, there's little symbols of fertility everywhere, you know. But yeah, 8 of Cups, 9 of Cups. The 9 of Cups usually is a guy who is very protective, I feel like, or he's very proud of the cups behind him. And I get it. It's the card of like having everything that you want. But then to me, every time I see that card, I'm like, he doesn't look happy. And I think this picture represents that very well. Like, this guy doesn't look happy. He might be on like a table of, like, part of a table that's very privileged, but he doesn't look happy to be there, you know? That's really interesting. But I think this painting, there's like a riot in this painting. So I think that's the story behind this. But yeah. 10 of Cups, Knave of Cups, Knight of Cups, Queen, King, and we're on to the Wands, Ace of Wands. I like this image, it's so pretty. Like, I'd really like, if you guys are not familiar with Botticelli's work, like there's a book published by Toscan, and it's really pretty, like, and it's really cheap, and it kind of goes in depth of like his paintings and the meaning behind his paintings. And these two are together actually in the painting, like these two are side by side, which is really nice. I feel like this is Flora again. I think this is the goddess Flora. And I don't know if you guys see this, but you know the Empress card in the Rider-Waite? This dress with like pictures on the dress looks a lot like Flora, or yeah, and it's fertility, that card, right? The Empress card. It's very fertile. Well, it has the imagery of Venus and fertility and stuff like that. So I think there's something there between, like, yeah, the image of like Venus, Flora, fertility. I think they're related somehow. 4 of Wands. Oh my gosh, this card, 5 of Wands. He looks so unhappy. But I like this card because it looks like it's very clear to me when I get the reading. Like, I think with this deck, it's better to read intuitively. Like, I mean, because yeah, you can use like the traditional meaning for the number of the cards or the pips or whatever, but I think you get a lot from just reading the card and looking at what the image tells you. Because he looks unhappy, but then he has like cherries, right? Which is supposed to be good, but he doesn't look very satisfied. And I think that's what that card means. Like, you have something, but you're not satisfied with it, or you're no longer enticed by it or something. 6 of Wands, 7 of Wands, 8 of Wands. And yeah, this is again from La Primavera, and this is the angel on the very top of the painting, and then they imposed it, I guess, onto a Wands card. 9 of Wands, 10. This is Mars. I know this is Mars. And there's a painting, Venus and Mars, and it's a very sexual painting. So I'm guessing Venus. Yeah, I believe that's Venus. They fornicate, I guess. But yeah, it's an interesting card. 10 of Wands. I see this. Okay, 10 of Wands. Just going back, like the 10 of Wands is someone carrying the bundles of sticks, and he looks tired, right? And he's tired. Maybe for a different reason, but he's tired. Knight of Wands. Knave of Wands. Sorry, guys. Knave of Wands, Knight of Wands. Queen of Wands, Mother Mary again, or the Madonna. King of Wands, and this face of the guy. I don't think I've mentioned this yet, but if you see the portrait, like a self-portrait of, or maybe just, yeah, it's a self-portrait, like the portrait of Botticelli, he looks a lot like this. the eyes, especially the bulgy eyes and the pale skin. So I'm thinking the males in his paintings are him. Like he really okay. The fact that they look like him and they're as pale as him, he really painted them to his likeness. You know, like it's very interesting. Ace of Swords. We're in the swords. I love the sword card. Swords. Well, the Ace of Swords, because there's gilding on to the sword as well. And for some reason, I guess the gold and the green and the brown, this all goes together. This whole painting. Yeah, this whole painting. Or this whole card. This is my favorite card, I think. Besides Venus. Or the world, yeah. Two of Swords. This looks really uncomfortable. Like he got jackknifed. Like how violent. But okay. Three of Swords. I like this card because it's so empowering. Again, for the woman. You know, like if you read this, I feel like the woman is in control. You know, like for however the reading comes out, it looks like the woman is the one who's in control. It's really cool. And he does again paint a lot about women, right? He paints about fertility, pregnancy, female, and then he also paints again for like female empowerment. The females are so empowered in this deck. And then Four of Swords, here, this is my favorite like female empowerment card. So this is, I believe her name is Judith, and that's the head of an Assyrian commander right there. That head over there. And the story behind this is she basically sneaks into the dead guy right there, the head. The dead guy's tent or like what is like fort? Not fort. What am I trying to say? The camp, their camp, right? And she seduces him, and while he's drunk, she cuts off his head. So she kills him. And so that's how the story goes, and that's how they win. So that's so cool, isn't it? Like that she's so powerful. And she's still pretty. Look at that. Really nicely dressed and just like carrying a sword. I love this card. Everything about this card is so beautiful. She's beautiful even. Look. The gilding, the dress. And then the head kind of like, kicks it up. Okay, let me just move this a little bit. And here's a Six of Swords. It's interesting. Very interesting. Okay, is this the movement? The travel? Yeah, I think this is movement and travel. Seven of Swords. So I like this, like, I guess, perception or representation of the Seven of Swords, because usually the Seven of Swords is someone who's like a thief, or like he steals, or someone who's dishonest, right? But in this one, it kind of shows maybe the reason behind all that. Maybe he's doing it for a better cause. And so, like, that's why I'm thinking this deck really is good for, like, intuitive work, or, like, going off the images and letting the image tell you, what to think or what to say, or help guide you in that direction. Because, like, looking at, like, just the traditional imagery or the traditional meaning, I think it takes away from the deck, because the deck has its own language. It has its own, like, it has its own point of view, I think. So that's why I just use this for myself. I don't really use this to read for other people. Eight of Swords. And plus this is, like, the representation of Venus or Aphrodite in my golden altar, and it always stays in the golden altar. So Nine of Swords, Ten of Swords, and again this is part of, I forgot which painting. Oops, I was gonna say Mars, but I don't think so. Knave of Swords, Knight of Swords, Queen of Swords, King of Swords, Ace of Pentacles. Okay, we're in the Pentacles. It is so pretty. It reminds me of, like, Christmas for some reason. And look at the medallion. Look at it. It's just so gold. and blingy. And 2 of Pentacles. And this is again from the Mars, the Venus and Mars painting. 3 of Pentacles. I love this card. It is so beautiful. She's like stepping on the pentacles. I see 4 of Pentacles here, like 4 of Pentacles here. Like, it's very, he's selfish, or he's someone who hoards, or, you know, he keeps things to him for himself. 5 of Pentacles. He looks poor. That's what that card is, right? Like, trying times, maybe. 6 of Pentacles. 7 of Pentacles. That's so cute. 8 of Pentacles. 9 of Pentacles. Look at this. 10 of Pentacles. It's home. That's so cool. Knave of Pentacles. Knight of Pentacles. The Madonna. Or Queen of Pentacles. And the last card, King of Pentacles. So that's the deck, you guys. And I really, 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 really love this deck. Like, it's probably my favorite deck at the moment. And again, I don't really use it too often because it stays at my golden altar. But it's beautiful. It's very vibrant, and it's just very attractive. Very, very attractive. I guess because it's Botticelli's work. Yes, that's part of the reason. But it's very vibrant at the same time, and also the gilding, the vibrant colors, it's a stunner. Like, it really does attract attention. And again, I don't have anything bad to say about it. The cardstock, to me, I love Scarabeo cardstock because it has the most fluid and easy shuffle that I've experienced with the decks, with any of the other decks. So yeah, I love Los Scarabeo cardstock, and the backing is very beautiful. So yeah, I really recommend this deck. Yeah. That's all I have to say. Thank you guys for watching, and have a good night or day, and take good care.